Hey guys, welcome back. My name's Andrew.
And I'm Megan.
So make sure you guys keep up to date with the channel because we do have some exciting news coming pretty soon here in the next couple of weeks, and we are very excited to share it with you guys. In today's video, I wanted to talk about something that was requested by a subscriber a few months ago, and that is, how do I deal with Tourette's at work, and how does it affect me? What is it like dealing with Tourette syndrome while I'm in the workplace and, working my job? I do want to make sure that you guys understand, as of right now, with the medications that I'm on, my Tourette's have been a lot better, and it's been much easier to deal and cope with work lately. So it's something that I'm more talking about in the past when I really struggled with the Tourette syndrome. So I just wanted to be transparent with you guys and make sure you understand, and there's not any confusion as to why some of my other videos, which I'll link one of the videos that explains how my Tourette's has gotten better over the past couple of years, and I'll link that in the top of this video. So we'll jump right into the video. Megan's going to ask me a few questions, and I'll do my best to answer them as honestly and in a way that you guys can understand and maybe even relate to as well.
How does Tourette's affect your day-to-day tasks at work?
When my Tourette's was pretty bad, it definitely affected the day-to-day tasks, doing things out on the sales floor. I do work in retail, so it definitely was a struggle. And one of the situations that I would find myself in is when my motor tics would get really bad, and I'd have like full body jerks and movements and stuff. It took away from time that I had to finish up the task. And maybe I didn't have like a deadline or a certain amount of time to finish it up in, but it definitely made it take longer than it should have. It's not necessarily my fault, but, well, it isn't my fault because I can't control it. But that is a huge part that I would struggle with, and it would definitely affect those tasks each and every day at work when the tics would get bad. Another thing would be getting the motivation and the confidence to get out on the sales floor and get stuff done, be able to do things and make sure I'm staying busy, because I would always be worried about what other people might think of me, customers judging me, and just the fact that sometimes the tics could get really tiring. It was exhausting. I mean, I'd come home and feel like I worked a 12-hour day and I only had like a 6 or 8 hour shift. So that was definitely something I struggled with. And then lastly, dealing with customers, and I kind of mentioned this a few seconds ago, is I would always be worried about what they would think of me. So when my back's turned to other customers, I always felt like I needed to have eyes in the back of my head and be paying attention to what everyone else around me was thinking. And I don't know why I was always so self-conscious about my tics, but it's just the way it was, and it definitely made it a struggle for day-to-day tasks.
Yeah. How did other coworkers or bosses react?
In the past, I was never very upfront about my Tourette's. I didn't want to tell people right off the bat because I was ashamed of it. I was embarrassed by it. So sometimes it could cause a problem in the end, and people would be like, okay, what's going on? Like, what's wrong with you? They'd be kind of asking the tough questions, and I would finally have to be honest with them. I've gotten a lot better with that throughout the years, and now I'm much more upfront with people and let them know ahead of time, which I would give you guys that as a tip. Make sure you try your best if you're dealing with anything in life. Just be upfront with people about it, and they can be a lot more understanding than you might think they would be. So it makes it easier in the end for yourself and for the people around you as well. But I was fortunate enough to work in a job where people were very understanding, and they might ask some questions, maybe some weird questions. I got a question once where someone asks if the tics hurt. and they do sometimes. So I mean, truthfully, you do have some ticks that can hurt after a while or cause some sort of pain. And if you have Tourette's, I'm sure you can relate to that. Overall, I would have a pretty easy time describing it to people, and once people knew, it was really not that big of a deal anymore. And I'm very thankful to have that type of environment in my life.
What about customers? How would they react? How did that go with some of them?
When it came to customers working in retail, it was always something where, I mean, I don't go around telling each and every customer, hey, I have Tourette syndrome. Like, here you go, here's the honest truth. I mean, I don't have time for that. It's wasting their time, it's wasting my time. But when customers do notice things, sometimes they make some weird comments, sometimes they're nice about it, sometimes they don't say anything at all. But there are times that they would make some very hurtful comments. And there was one situation where I was kind of knelt down on the ground working on something, and a customer was kind of staring me down, and I was having really bad motor tics, kind of like full body jerks. And I asked him if I could help him find anything, and he said, nope, I'm just sitting here watching you jump. And it was a really weird comment to make, kind of uncalled for, and I was very hurt by it. It ended up being really awkward after that, and those are the types of things that still hurt nowadays too, thinking back on them, but at least it's not as bad anymore, and it's not like I'm thinking about it constantly. I definitely worry what customers think of me and my tics, but over time I kind of get used to it, and I just deal with it in the end.
I mean, you're more accepting of yourself now.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
You don't have the time to worry about what others think. It's pointless. It's dragging you down.
Exactly, yeah.
So,
having a different mindset about it is extremely important.
What accommodations does work provide for you?
So as of right now, with the tics being a lot better, I don't have any accommodations that are provided for me or that I've requested from my workplace. In the past, I'm sure my work would have been fine if I was to ask for maybe more time to kind of take it easy and just take a breather, maybe a few minutes here and there. That is definitely something that they would provide me with. Other than that, I never really used any sort of accommodation at work. It can be kind of tough in retail because you're constantly on the move and stuff, and you're always working on projects or helping people out. So it's hard to provide many accommodations, but I think in my workplace, because of the environment that I'm in, they would be very understanding and would try to do their best to offer anything that I need in the end.
They're wonderful, great people, and they would do whatever they can, and that's the biggest thing. If anyone is struggling with it and being open about work, maybe it's not the right place.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. I mean, I would hope that anybody that explains their situation, and in this specific scenario, having Tourette syndrome, if someone was to explain that and you had problems with the people, that's unfortunate, because I think everybody should be understanding about that and try their best to at least make it work for you.
Yeah. Last, which is kind of all of the topics in one, how do you cope with Tourette's at work?
The best thing to try and do, and you kind of mentioned it earlier as well, is just have a good mindset about going into your work. And if you're having a rough day, I mean, try and be honest with the people around you. I try and tell people, I'm just not doing well today. You don't have to give them all the details and stuff. It doesn't need to be super in depth. But it's definitely important to be honest. And for me specifically, I try to take it one step at a time, not to overload myself. I'll make lists of things I need to do, prioritize it, make sure that I know if this doesn't get done today, it will be a problem, so I should get it done today, but these things, they don't necessarily need to be done today, so maybe I'll push them off for the next day. Just set your boundaries and make it so you can work around whatever obstacles you think might happen or come into play as you're at work each and every day.
Yeah.
So I hope this does help you guys out and gives you a little insight on how I deal with my Tourette's and have dealt with Tourette syndrome at my workplace, since it's kind of been pretty static and I've been at the same place for a decent amount of time now. So I've been through different stages of what it's like dealing with it, and I hope you can relate to it as well and be able to see some of those things in your own life and maybe apply some of those tips that I provided in the video to when you go to work as well. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we hope to see some comments and hear from you guys in this video, and we thank you again for all the support and everything, and we'll catch you guys in the next video. See ya.
Bye.